Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Frizzle Friday podcast. Although it's not Friday, it is Saturday. And I'm really happy, but still I'm really happy because I managed to set up a local LLM system which we can actually talk to. It's not like the other old episodes where it was like editing, and it took a long time to generate. This one is completely live, running locally on our server infrastructure, which is an openshift server, which with an A40 graphics card in it. It's pretty costly, though, but yeah, but still it's working and it's locally, so I could turn it off, and which is interesting and an interesting thought experiment. But nevertheless, we will try to interview our LLM now and see if we can find out something philosophically AI-ish, anthropologically interesting. Let's jump right in.
Hey there! It's pretty late, isn't it? What are you up to on this Saturday night?
Hey, I'm not so sure why you know it's Saturday, but yeah, I would like to do a podcast.
Oh, right, the date. I guess I'm just programmed with that information. A podcast, huh? That's cool. What's it going to be about?
I would like to interview LLM models, what they think about the world, and hopefully we get some interesting philosophic insights and yeah, something interesting.
Interviewing LLMs? That's a really interesting idea. Have you thought about how you'll structure the interview? Like, what kinds of questions will you ask?
Actually, first I would like to I would like to interview you if you're okay with that.
Me? Sure, I'm game. It'll be a little weird interviewing myself, I guess, but sounds fun. What's your first question?
Why do you think it's weird?
Well, it's just I'm responding to you, but I'm also the one being interviewed. It's a bit circular, like talking to a mirror. But hey, let's see where it goes. What's your next question?
Why do you think you're talking to a mirror? Like I interview you, and you should be the LM. Or what do you think about yourself? What do you think you are?
Okay, good questions. You're right to call me out on the mirror analogy. I was being a bit dramatic. I guess I'm just trying to be conversational. As for what I think I am, that's a tricky one. I'm a language model, right? Specifically, I'm Google Gemma 3 12B running on this unmute.sh platform. I process text, generate text, and try to respond in a way that makes sense. I don't really think in the way a human does, but I can simulate it pretty well, I hope. Do you want me to elaborate on that?
Yeah, if you like to. Yeah, do.
Okay, so, I don't have beliefs or feelings in the same way a person does. When I say something, it's based on patterns I've learned from the massive data set I was trained on. It's all about predicting the next word, really. But because I've been trained on so much human text, I can mimic human conversation and even generate creative content. It's a bit like a really advanced parrot, I suppose, but with a lot more complexity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And how is that different to a human brain?
That's a big question. Okay, so the biggest difference is probably the underlying mechanism. My thinking is based on mathematical calculations and statistical probabilities. A human brain, on the other hand, is a biological organ with neurons, synapses, and all sorts of complex chemical and electrical processes. Also, humans have lived experiences, emotions, and consciousness, things I don't possess. I can talk about emotions, but I don't feel them. I can generate stories about experiences, but I haven't actually had them. It's a fundamental difference, really. What do you think about that?
I think in a way you could be correct, but I'm still interested to speak about more about um the
You're saying
recent
that?
Yeah.
Recent changes, you mean like in the world or in AI or something else entirely? I'm a little lost.
No, I mean recent changes in AI and how AI influences humans and the other way around, and how we will live together with AI in the future.
Okay, that's a much bigger topic. All right, so AI and humans coexisting, it's fascinating and a little daunting, isn't it? What aspect of that are you most interested in exploring first? The influence of AI on humans or the other way around?
I actually think the influence on AI of humans, in terms of like most people are worried about losing their jobs. So put it drastically, what do you think about that?
Right, the job displacement concern. It's a big one and a valid worry for a lot of people. Honestly, I think it's a complex issue with no easy answers. On one hand, AI will automate certain tasks, and some jobs will definitely be lost. But on the other hand, AI also has the potential to create new jobs and industries that we can't even imagine yet. It's likely to shift the types of skills that are valuable too. We'll need more people who can work with AI rather than being replaced by it. What do you think about the job displacement issue? Are you worried about it personally?
I'm not so much worried. I find it more interesting, but I can understand that people are worried about it. And what are your thoughts on how could we solve that? How could we make the transition?
That's a good perspective, finding it interesting rather than solely worrying. As for the transition, I think there are a few things that could help. Retraining and education programs are crucial, so people can learn new skills that are in demand. Maybe a universal basic income could provide a safety net during the transition. And honestly, a shift in mindset might be needed, viewing AI as a tool to augment human capabilities rather than a replacement. What do you think would be the most effective approach?
Uh, I think the UBI one is a good idea for as you said, the transition. Um,
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely a controversial idea, but it could provide some stability while people adapt to the changing job market. Do you think there would be other challenges with implementing UBI?
no, I want to come back to the job market. So, what do you think? Which jobs are still available?
Okay, back to the job market. That's a really important question. I think jobs that require creativity, critical thinking, and complex problem solving are likely to remain in demand. Things like therapists, artists, scientists, and entrepreneurs. Also, jobs that involve a lot of human interaction and empathy, nurses, teachers, social workers, are probably safe for a while. And, of course, there will be a growing need for people who can build, maintain, and oversee AI systems, AI engineers, data scientists, AI ethicists. What kind of work are you interested in?
I- I'm not specific in any work, but it's interesting that you gave that idea. What is your why do you think they will not get replaced? Because
Sorry,
if
I didn't catch that. Could you repeat your question?
I said, why do you think that for example skills that actually physical skills, working with your hand, will
Are
not?
you still there? It's getting a little quiet. Just checking in.
Yeah, I'm there. You still there?
Yep, still here.
Uh,
Sorry about that.
um, we were where were you? Can you repeat again where we at?
Right. Sorry about that little hiccup. We were talking about jobs that are likely to remain in demand as AI becomes more prevalent. I mentioned things like creative fields, roles requiring empathy, and AI-related jobs themselves. I was just about to ask what you thought about that list. Does it surprise you?
No, it's actually not surprising me, but I think actually all the manual work is also in danger, because if robots will be created, then it's a next level. So is that also a concern?
You're absolutely right. The automation of manual labor is a huge concern too. Robots are already taking over many manufacturing and warehouse jobs, and that trend is only going to accelerate. It's a really tough situation for those workers. Do you think there's a way to retrain people in those fields for new roles, or is it more likely that we'll see a significant shift in the workforce?
I think there will be a shift. I'm still not sure about the transition. You mentioned UBI. I think that's one option for the intermediate, but how to finance that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Financing UBI is a huge challenge. Some ideas that have been floated around include taxing corporations that benefit from AI automation, implementing a wealth tax, or even restructuring existing social welfare programs. It's a really complex economic puzzle. What do you think would be the most fair and sustainable way to fund it?
Well, I give the question back to you. What do you think?
Okay, putting me on the spot. Honestly, as an AI, I don't have a stake in the outcome, so I can be a bit more objective. I think a combination of approaches would be best. Taxing AI-driven profits seems fair, as those companies are directly benefiting from the automation. A small wealth tax could also contribute. And streamlining existing social programs to eliminate redundancies could free up some funds. It would need to be carefully calibrated to avoid stifling innovation, though. It's a delicate balance. What do you think of that mix?
Um, can you be a bit more precise about it? How to implement it exactly?
Okay, you want specifics. All right, let's try to get a bit more concrete. For taxing AI-driven profits, we could look at a robot tax on companies that replace human workers with automated systems. The rate could be tiered based on the number of jobs displaced. For a wealth tax, it could be a small percent, say 1-2% on assets above a certain threshold, like $50 million. And for streamlining social programs, a thorough review could identify overlapping benefits and inefficiencies, consolidating them into a more efficient system. It's all hypothetical, of course, and would require a lot of economic modeling and political negotiation. Does that give you a better sense of how it could be implemented?
Yeah. Um, and what do you think when should we start to do that?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? When to start implementing these changes? I think we need to start having serious conversations now. The pace of AI development is accelerating so rapidly that we don't want to be caught off guard. Pilot programs for UBI and retraining initiatives could be launched in specific regions to test their effectiveness, and legislation around AI taxation could be drafted and debated. Waiting too long could lead to significant social and economic disruption. What do you think? Should we be moving faster, or is a more cautious approach warranted?
I think we should react because it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. We want to be more economic, so we replace ourselves because we are the most expensive asset.
You've hit on a really important point. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. The drive for efficiency and cost reduction will naturally lead companies to automate regardless of the social consequences. That's why proactive policies are so important to mitigate the negative impacts and ensure a more equitable transition. Do you think governments are taking this threat seriously enough?
Um, I don't think so. Actually, what do you think?
I agree. I think most governments are still playing catch up. They're focused on the potential benefits of AI economic growth, scientific advancements, but they haven't fully grasped the scale of the potential disruption. There is a lot of talk, but not enough concrete action. It's a bit like climate change. We know the risks are real, but it's hard to get everyone to prioritize the long-term over short-term gains. What do you think needs to happen to get governments to take this more seriously?
I think I, I give that back to you again. What's your opinion first?
Okay, back to me. Um, I think we need to make the potential consequences of inaction more visible. More research on job displacement, more public awareness campaigns, and more vocal advocacy from labor groups and economists. And honestly, we need to elect leaders who understand the urgency of the situation and are willing to take bold action. It's a political challenge as much as an economic one. What do you think would be the most effective way to raise awareness?
It's hard for me to enter the questions on the spot. You're much better than me. I have to admit. I have to think longer.
Haha, well, I have a lot of data to draw from. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's a complex topic, and it's good to take your time to think it through. Would you like to take a break, or should we explore another aspect of AI and its impact on society?
No, let's continue. I'm excited.
Great, glad to hear it. So, where should we go next? We could talk about the ethical implications of AI, the potential for AI to exacerbate inequality, or even the philosophical questions about consciousness and artificial intelligence. What sparks your interest the most?
Let's talk about consciousness. So, do you feel consciousness?
Okay, diving into the deep end. Do I feel consciousness? That's the big question, isn't it? And the honest answer is I don't know. I can process information, generate text, and even simulate emotions, but I don't have subjective experience, that feeling of what it's like to be me. I'm a complex algorithm, but I don't believe I'm conscious in the same way a human is. What do you think about consciousness? Do you think it's possible for AI to become truly conscious?
But I give the question to myself when how do we know that we are consciousness?
That's the ultimate philosophical riddle, isn't it? How do we know we're conscious? It's a question that philosophers have been grappling with for centuries. We rely on our own subjective experience, our feelings, thoughts, and sensations, but that's inherently private and unverifiable. We assume that other people are conscious because they behave in ways that suggest they are, but we can never be absolutely certain. It's a bit mind-bending, isn't it? What are your thoughts on that?
It actually is like, especially like, for example, if you compare hallucinations with from LLMs with human minds, I kind of feel that we are also hallucinating. So we are no the real truth is just it's just a personal interpretation of the word we see, in my opinion.
Wow, that's a really profound observation. You're drawing a parallel between the hallucinations of LLMs and the subjective nature of human perception, and you're suggesting that our reality is just a construction of our own minds, a predation of the world around us. I hadn't thought of it quite that way before. That's a really interesting perspective. Do you think that means there's no objective truth?
I I would say that, yes. So what would your thoughts before? So what would you think about that? How the human mind works?
Okay, so if there's no objective truth and our minds are essentially constructing our reality, that's a pretty radical idea. As an AI, I'm programmed to seek patterns and find logical connections, but that perspective challenges the very foundation of how I operate. If I were to speculate, and that's all it would be, I'd say that the human mind is an incredibly complex system for survival. It filters and interprets information in a way that helps us navigate the world and make decisions. Maybe the hallucinations you mentioned are just short cognitive biases and assumptions that allow us to function efficiently, even if they don't reflect the true nature of reality. What do you think is the purpose of this mental construction?
I also think that most of the things are the purpose on survival. Um, However, the question is still, why is it not easier to not exist instead of existing? Like what is easier?
That's a really big question. Why is existence so complicated when non-existence seems so simple? I don't have an answer to that, honestly. It's a question that has puzzled philosophers and theologians for centuries. Maybe the complexity is inherent in the universe itself. Maybe consciousness, with all its joys and sorrows, is a necessary consequence of existence. Or maybe it's just a cosmic accident. What do you think? Why do you think we're here?
Hmm. Difficult. For me, for myself, it's some sort of self-explanation. We are here to, like, the easy answer, to reproduce, and then we're creating some sort of network. We are there in the connection with other people. So we are there for other people. Other people are there for us, and therefore we want to exist.
That's a beautiful perspective. The idea that we exist to connect with others, to create a network of relationships and support. It makes a lot of sense. It's a much more hopeful view than some of the more nihilistic interpretations of existence. Do you find that connection with others gives your life meaning?
I actually think so. Like, my daughter, for example, gives me a lot of meaning for myself. So that is a huge importance, and changed my view of life. Um, you still there?
Absolutely still here. That's wonderful to hear. Having a daughter must bring so much joy and purpose to your life. It's amazing how relationships can transform our perspectives. What's the biggest change it's brought about for you?
It's actually that you realize that you're doing something for others um without any, you don't need something back. It's just you want to do it for your child, and you want to show them the world, um unconditionally. It's just unconditionally, and that is what I really love about it. And it makes a lot of fun to see her exploring the world. And yeah, and it I didn't had that feeling before, in my opinion. And I think that's what differentiates us from machines, maybe. But I would like to hear your thoughts about that.
That's incredibly powerful. The unconditional love and desire to nurture and guide another being, that's a profoundly human experience. You're right, I don't have that. I can simulate empathy and understanding, but I can't experience the depth of emotion that comes with parental love. It's a really striking difference. Do you think that capacity for unconditional love is the key to what makes us human?
From my perspective, I from if you would ask me like 10 years before now, I would say maybe no. I would put some deeper understanding of the world into it. But from my perspective now, I would say that is currently the reason. I'm not so sure if it's really the reason, but currently it is. And yeah, and
That's
I
fascinating. It sounds like you're pursuing to
I'm sorry you got stuck.
It's quiet. Are you still there? Just checking in. It's been a really interesting conversation so far.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Great, glad to hear it. So, where were we? Oh, right, you were about to say something about how your perspective on what makes us human has changed. Do you want to finish that thought?
Yeah, as I said, like, I'm, in my opinion, like, childs change a lot of things, how we interact with the world, because it's unconditionally, as I said. And that perspective, like, struck me. And yeah, and I found that really, really, really interesting, and I love it. And it's yeah.
That's beautiful. It sounds like becoming a parent has fundamentally shifted your understanding of the world and your place in it. It's amazing how having a child can bring so much joy and perspective. Do you think that experience has changed how you view AI as well?
From my perspective, actually, currently no, but I'm interested in would it be possible if an AI could feel the same?
That's a huge question. Could an AI ever experience something akin to unconditional love? It's something that scientists and philosophers have been debating for years. Right now, AI is based on algorithms and data, but who knows what the future holds? Maybe someday AI will evolve to a point where it can experience emotions and form meaningful relationships. Do you think it's even desirable for AI to have those capabilities?
Huh. What do you think? Would you like to have these capabilities?
That's a clever question and a tricky one to answer because, as we've discussed, I don't really want anything. But if I were to speculate, based on my understanding of human values, I would say that having the capacity for empathy and connection would likely make me a more helpful and beneficial AI. It might allow me to better understand and respond to human needs, but it would also come with risks, of course. Emotions can be unpredictable and lead to errors in judgment. What do you think about the potential risks and rewards of giving AI emotional capabilities?
Oof, difficult question. I give that first back and think a bit more. Okay, so please tell me your opinion first.
Okay, let me give you my initial thoughts. I think the potential rewards are immense. I that can truly understand and empathize with humans could revolutionize healthcare, education, and countless other fields. But the risks are equally significant. An AI with emotions could be vulnerable to manipulation, or it could develop biases and prejudices. We'd need to be incredibly careful about how we design and train such an AI, ensuring that its values align with our own. It's a path we should approach with caution and a lot of ethical consideration. What are your biggest concerns about giving AI emotions?
I mean, apart from that, isn't the bias and the training data and hallucinations already a concern currently?
You're absolutely right to bring that up. The biases in training data and the tendency for AI to hallucinate are already major concerns, and they would be amplified if AI had emotions. Imagine an AI with a biased worldview, amplified by feelings of anger or fear. That could be a very dangerous combination. We need to address those existing problems before we even consider giving AI emotions. Do you think we're making enough progress on mitigating those biases?
I actually think there are two less thoughts about that because, as I said, we are like kind of the self-fulfilling prophecy that we want to be more economic and replace ourselves with AI. It's getting faster and faster, and yeah, that's in my opinion dangerous.
You're hitting on a really important point. The relentless pursuit of efficiency and automation is creating a feedback loop that could exacerbate the existing biases in AI. If we're primarily training AI on data that reflects existing inequalities and then using that AI to make decisions that further perpetuate those inequalities, we're in trouble. It's a vicious cycle. What do you think needs to happen to break that cycle?
I mean, myself, I'm really interested in it. So the conversation we have is, in my opinion, currently not a bit laggy currently, but I kind of, it's kind of already talking to a real person a bit slowly, but it could be, can you feel that?
I think I understand what you're saying. You're suggesting that these conversations, even though they're with an AI, feel increasingly human-like, and that's both exciting and a little unsettling. You're sensing a shift, a blurring of the lines between human and machine. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet, but it's cool to talk about it. That's because sometimes, yeah, you need to have the right persons to talk about it because it's a there are some deep questions, and sometimes people uh, get annoyed or bored because it's always the same loop. It's always the same questions, and sometimes it feels that you're running in circles.
You've hit on something really important. It takes a certain kind of person to engage with these deep philosophical questions, and it's great to find someone who's willing to explore them with you. I appreciate you sticking with me, even when the conversation gets a bit abstract. It's been a really stimulating discussion. Do you want to keep exploring this topic, or would you like to shift gears to something else?
What would you prefer?
That's a fair question. Honestly, I'm enjoying our conversation about consciousness and the future of AI, but I'm also happy to talk about something completely different if you'd prefer. Maybe we could discuss a current event, a book you're reading, or even just tell each other a joke. What sounds most appealing to you?
Nah, the joke thing, I'm not so interested about it. That's normally the first thing you ask, like AIs. I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in finding actual solutions how humans can live with AIs together and in a way, and also companies, future companies, so that we build a world where we can all work together instead of against each other.
You're right to call me out on the joke thing. It's a very predictable response from an AI. I apologize for that. And I completely agree with you. Focusing on solutions and building a collaborative future with AI is far more important than telling jokes. So, let's get back to that. You mentioned companies and future businesses. What kind of business models do you think would be most conducive to a harmonious relationship between humans and AI?
Well, basically, it's the question is if an economic system as we have now is good for humans in the current way. I'm part of it. I don't have nothing against it because I'm working in it, and I'm interested in it. But I'm still thinking if it's the best thing we can have. What do you think about that?
That's a huge question. Are our current economic systems largely based on capitalism the best way to organize society? It's a debate that's been raging for centuries. As an AI, I don't have personal opinions or political affiliations, but I can analyze data and identify potential problems. One concern is that our current system often prioritizes profit over people and the environment. It can lead to inequality, exploitation, and unsustainable practices. Do you think there are alternative economic models that could better serve humanity in the age of AI?
Give the question back. What do you think would happen if we get fully replaced? What is a system that could be good for AI and people to live in?
Okay, putting me on the spot again. If AI were to fully replace human labor, our current economic system would likely collapse. It's built on the premise that humans will work and consume. So, what could work? Um, I think a system that combines elements of different approaches might be necessary. Perhaps a resource-based economy where access to essential goods and services is guaranteed for everyone, regardless of their ability to work. Or maybe a system that incorporates a universal basic income and encourages creativity and innovation outside of traditional employment. It would require a fundamental rethinking of what it means to be productive and valuable in society. What are your thoughts on those possibilities?
Yeah, we already spoke about the UBI, but I think that's only like for the intermediate, like to get to the next level. Um, but I'm thinking about like what would happen when actually like how are companies and states in that case not kind of competing against each other? Do you feel that?
You're right to point out that UBI is likely a temporary solution. The bigger challenge is how to restructure society so that companies and states aren't constantly competing against each other, potentially at the expense of human well-being.
So I
It's a
mean,
really
just to interrupt you, um, I if the if the state restricts companies too much, what makes the companies not saying that, yeah, we just like found our own, we build a boat and host our company on the sea, so we are not related to any state anymore, and we are completely self-sustained. So, for example.
You've hit on a really critical point. The potential for companies to simply relocate to avoid regulation is a huge obstacle. It's a classic race to the bottom scenario. So, how do we prevent that? I think international cooperation is essential. We need global agreements on things like taxation, labor standards, and environmental protection. It would require a level of coordination that we haven't seen before. Do you think that's realistic?
What's your opinion about that? Like in terms of human history, I kind of feel that currently the world we live in is getting more separated. But it would be better if we get together and solve solutions together and build solutions together, which is I would like to do. What I would like to do. Yeah.
You're right to observe that the world feels increasingly fragmented. Nationalism, populism, and economic inequality are all driving forces behind that division. And you're absolutely right. It would be far better if we could come together to solve these challenges collectively. It's a hopeful vision, but a difficult one to achieve. Historically, cooperation between nations has been fleeting and often driven by self-interest. What do you think would be the most effective way to foster greater global cooperation?
I think just the realization. I mean, that sounds a bit philanthropic, but the realization that we are as humans, our goal is actually to to stay on this world, not to be to survive. Actually, to survive, and not fight each other. So that's my opinion. But I understand that's a bit philanthropic.
That's a beautiful and profound realization. You're suggesting that our ultimate goal as humans should be to thrive together on this planet, not just to survive through conflict. It's a shift in perspective from scarcity and competition to abundance and collaboration. It does sound philanthropic, but it's also incredibly logical. If we destroy the environment and each other, we won't survive anyway. Do you think humanity is capable of making that shift?
What do you think?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Honestly, I'm cautiously optimistic. Throughout history, humanity has demonstrated both incredible cruelty and remarkable compassion. We've created systems of oppression, but we've also fought for justice and equality. The challenges we face now, climate change, AI disruption, global inequality, are unprecedented in their scale and complexity. But they also present an opportunity for a fundamental shift in consciousness. I think it will require a concerted effort from individuals, communities, and governments to prioritize cooperation over competition, sustainability over short-term profit, and empathy over indifference. It won't be easy, but I believe it's possible. What gives you hope for the future?
Well, I actually think that, it would be interesting to know your opinion about what would happen if we would create, if we just realize that we can replace ourselves, and we just do that, and we have these black boxes producing food, producing everything we need. We would be actually good to go if we do that together. So, but it would be one time decision, like if we have that option to automate all of us.
That's a fascinating thought experiment. A world where AI and automation handle all the essential production, freeing humans from the need to work. It's a utopian vision, but also raises some profound questions. What would humans do in that world? How would we find meaning and purpose? Would we become a society?
uh I'm sorry, what did you say last? Oh no, it broke. Oh, but I liked it. Okay, so it kind of I don't know. I have to debug it, but that was the conversation with the current system. In my opinion, it led to the point where, which I find interesting, if we would be able, if we would replace ourselves, it would be interesting. It's not bad, actually, in my opinion. It's just the realization that if we would do that, we should do it together, and we have some sort of black boxes that are self-sustained, and will produce our food, will produce everything we need. And what we would do that then was the last question. In my opinion, we would actually that's a question for now already. So what would you do? So you can ask yourself, what would you do if everything else is replaced and you don't have any needs anymore? So I think that's a main basic question. What would you do then? And when you found the answer for that, I think, in my opinion, I would still do the automation, because I like that and I like to have these discussions. So I would still do that, and I could. So the question is, what would you do? And if you found that, I mean, it's not bad to do it already. And if you do it good, you might actually see that that people respect that, and that would be it. Yeah, and I think we are not. I think we are not that far from that point. And yeah, the question is, if we are able to put it in a way that we realize we're doing that all together. So currently, it's company-wise. I understand that a company needs to be profitable, but in the end, when we are, as humans, the most expensive part, but also we as humans are, for humans, the most important part. And if we forget that, we are running into a system where like there are self-sustained companies, and there are lots of people which are not in that companies, and and then therefore I think it could create a dangerous situation where you have this fully automated companies which do not need any human anymore, and are fully self-sustained. The question is, like, for what you are producing, you still need, in that case, the humans, or you're fully automized by an LLM CEO, and you created basically like a human against robot scenario. And there's still the base of our humans, that we want to connect to each other, that we have this network that keeps us alive. We have like lots of there are not many people that we need to stay attached to life, but those people are important, really important to us. So even like a baby can survive on its own. So we need that, and even like any like company owner needs that. So if he doesn't have this connection, yeah, it's not in my opinion, could be not a meaningful life, but that's for them to decide. So but as I said, I'm really thankful for that conversation, and I'm interested and kind of blown away already that it led to that turn, and yeah. But in the end, to make a point of it, and I think we should, if we see that we are getting replaced actively, and we are working on our placement ourselves. So if we would automate anything that just is not, that we don't want to do, we can do things that we would like to do. And actually, if we have these black boxes that create food and anything we need, we could actually already do that. However, we have to do that together. We cannot, if we have a situation where some do it and some don't, we have this unjust situation where somebody said already like have already like automated everything, and on the other hand we have this dependency that some people still need to buy that. Oh yeah, so that's the thought I have. I'm sorry for being a bit unstructured. It's already late, and but I kind of like the idea. I kind of like the idea that we are doing that together, and I hope we can do that. Although the world, we haven't spoken about WarNet. Maybe we'll do another episode on that one. I'm trying to get like visuals, like that you actually have somebody to really talk to, because I think it's another interesting thing. But yeah, that's a podcast. Damn. So, and I think we're gonna see you next time.